All right, a bizarre story out of Knoxville, maybe an indicator of the new and strange world we are going to be living in college sports, as Volunteers quarterback Nico Iamaleava is apparently holding out, was not present at spring practice today, as he is negotiating a new NIL deal, according to reports to On3. Now, On3 is kind of hit or miss with some of their reporting. Sometimes they just kind of make shit up. Sometimes they're really knocked in on the college football world. It depends who's reporting stuff. Now, Nico's father disputed the claim, saying that's not what's going on here, but it is something interesting to look about as we are in the ever-changing landscape of the NIL collective. Now, Nico kind of set the headlines and kind of changed the game when it came to NIL deals when he signed with Tennessee in 2023, apparently agreeing to a 4-year, $8 million NIL deal that would pay him $2.2 million for this 2025 season coming up. And Nico was the number 2 quarterback in the class, 5-star, a major get for the Volunteers. And he kind of really hasn't lived up to the hype of his top prospect billing coming into Tennessee. He started the year off great, did eventually get the Vols into the college football playoff before losing to eventual champion Ohio State in the first round. But the numbers and production really weren't great down the stretch of the season. Volunteers kind of needed more out of him. I mean, this is a top quarterback prospect, and he kind of landed a little bit flat to end the season, struggled with some turnovers a bit, wasn't seeing the field great. Did have an overall good season, but I think Tennessee fans will be adamant that they need more out of Nico if they want to take the next steps this upcoming season. But it's interesting to see where we've gotten ourselves into now. Like I said, $2.25 million agreed to back in 2023, $8 million total. Seemed like a game-changing deal, so game-changing that the Tennessee Attorney General sued them, saying that they couldn't use NIL indictments to lure recruits in. And it went all the way to a federal court, and they ruled in favor of Tennessee. So this kind of blew up the entire NIL situation, where it's like, yeah, we can recruit you with basically contracts to come play football for us. But the landscape has gotten so out of control, especially at the quarterback position, that it's kind of a great deal for Tennessee right now, what they're paying Nico. And he probably wants a new deal. Look at quarterbacks like Carson Beck. Carson Beck, $4 million apparently to go play for Miami this upcoming season. I mean, Nico and Carson Beck, not much difference between the two as far as a production standpoint on the field. And Nico, obviously much younger, could give you a little bit more. I think Nico hasn't touched his ceiling, where we've kind of maxed out what we're going to get from Carson Beck. I could be wrong, but it feels like that. As well as Mensa, who transferred from Tulane to Duke, will be also getting a $4 million deal. And Mensa is one of the hot young quarterbacks in the country. If you don't know about my guy, he was a monster as a freshman at Tulane, going to Duke of all places. I mean, Duke dumped a pretty good quarterback to upgrade, because that's the world we're living in college sports right now. So this is the first of its kind, though. Nico is a hold-in, essentially. I mean, he's on campus. He's just not at the Volunteers practice. This was not expected, according to reports from people who are familiar with the situation. They were expecting him to be there, and he's not there. So clearly, there is some legs to the story that if he's not showing up to practice, he's clearly trying to get more money out of Tennessee, and who can blame him? The market is what the market is. Now, the problem is we are in this kind of weird gray area, because the NCAA is the most incompetent organization on the planet. They really drop the ball as far as what the rules, regulations, and setups for the NIL was going to be. And a lot of teams have spent a lot of money and gotten completely burned, maybe not gotten the results they were expecting to get. But that's what happens when everybody is paying players. You're not just going to be the only ones, guys. You got to be able to put it all together on the football field. But we do have a pending Supreme Court case that's ultimately going to rule on what our setup, or what teams and schools can and cannot do as far as NIL collectives are concerned. And I think we're going to finally get some rules and stability put in place on this whole situation. Look, the players want to renegotiate. They talk about coaches. We have the unlimited transfer portal, where guys are playing for 4 teams in 4 years just to get a bag over there. But the schools really don't have recourse. Why not just make these guys employees? Like, I know they've fought so hard against making them employees. You're in college. It's amateurism bullshit. we're just going to start signing contracts, guys. You got a 4-year contract with team opt-out after like 2, maybe a player opt-out after 1, and if a coach leaves, you are allowed to transfer, but you aren't going to get paid your NIL money. I think that's going to make things a little bit better. Maybe you sign a 3-year contract with a school option for the 4th year, and like a player option for the 1st year so you can transfer out there. Put in a hard salary cap on these teams. Now, teams are always going to skirt the rules and say, but actually be an enforcement agency. If we put a hard salary cap on sports like football and basketball out there with these schools, and then you catch somebody like paying guys under the table and trying to get around it, then you can slap the penalties on schools, really come down hard on them, and people aren't going to bitch and complain and feel bad for the schools because the players are going to get paid. They're getting paid. There's a million institutions out there, especially at the Division I level, especially at the P5 level. There's plenty of money to go around where a guy can go get paid on another school. He doesn't have to take a less of a contract to stay at a school if he isn't necessarily getting paying time. But if schools want to fuck around and find out that they're going to, skirt the rules, pay guys extra, get behind them, try and do the old bagman trick, actually be an enforcement agency, NCAA, like actually enforce rules like, no, we're not putting up with this shit anymore. We're not going to allow you to go around, skirt the rules, pay guys behind the table because you weren't paying anybody at all, legally speaking. Now we got contracts. Now we got to set up, make it just like the NFL. Your teams can't do that nonsense. Make it in writing. Working contracts, your employees of the football team. If you want to say you're employees of the school, I know there's some weird workarounds going on with that because some public universities, private institutions, government, because like if you work for a school, like a public school, you're technically a government employee. That has some interesting tax implications as well. So you have to figure something out. Collectively bargain, form a union, be like the NFL Players Union, the NBA Players Union, like form a union. There's plenty of people willing to represent you guys, get you involved, ex-players, ex-NFL players, if we're talking solely on football, because really the main focus on the NIL in this is like football, basketball. Let's be real. Those are your real money drivers in college sports. It's football, it's basketball, sometimes baseball, sometimes hockey, depending on the schools. But really, those are your 2 big ones. And where we've turned into the Wild West, 1,000+ guys in Division I or in the transfer portal in college basketball. Coaches are changing, entire rosters are changing. Shit, I don't think my team A&M has a single guy on their basketball roster right now under scholarship because of what the transfer portal in the Wild West has turned into there. So something interesting to take a look at. Keep our eyes on this story. Could we see our first ever holdout? Could Nico be transferring, this late into the season? Could he just be switching schools? I mean, why not finish the spring semester and then you're there for the summer and fall if you want to go for a new team, if somebody's willing to pay you more? This could be a big one, and he'd probably be the biggest Power 5 starting quarterback that transfers within a Power 5 school to get more money and keep going. I mean, maybe Carson Beck, but they were kind of running his ass out there. I don't think Tennessee fans want to see Nico in any other uniform besides a Volunteers uniform. But that's going to do it for us today. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Where do you think this NIL situation is going to go? Are we going to see more hold-in/holdouts of college guys who want to rework their NIL contracts? Will Nico show up? Will he be playing for the Volunteers? Or is this just the start of something major in college sports? Let me know down in the comments below. If you haven't already, like this video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We got daily sports content for you guys. Sign up for a channel membership. Help support the channel. Allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. Plus, you get all sorts of access to cool and exclusive perks, members-only videos, stuff like that. If you want to check out one of your teams live, it's NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, baseball season, head on over to SeatGeek. Use code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. That's SeatGeek.com. Code AfterTheReview for $20 off your first purchase. Check out the links down below. We got links to the Discord, my Twitter, X, whatever, social media feeds, as well as other affiliate links for you guys to check out. So be sure to check those out down below. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.